Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Making Mind Shifts with LeviLouis. If you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Levi and I'm an author and I'm also an engineer. I've written two books, What Goes on here about success and high flyers, right? In this particular episode, in this particular series that we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at how to really make mind shifts. And why do I say make mind shifts? You see, the difference between you and the person you want to become is tied to your mindset. Um, let's use this example. Let's say you're in an elevator or you're in a building with ceilings. The difference between you and the next person is divided by a ceiling. Now, when you don't move between the ceilings that are in your mind, it becomes very difficult to get to where you need to get to because it's not necessarily about what is around you, it's about what is inside of you. And so your mindset, in a lot of ways, limits what is possible. And that is why we continue to make mind shifts because at different points, to become different versions of ourselves or to do certain things that we want to do, we have to make mind shifts. We have to shift the ceilings in our minds. The wealthiest person today, the most productive person, right, the most healthy person that you know today, the only difference between that person and you is the way they think. And you can always improve the way you think. You can always change how you think, how do you interact with the world. And that is why making mind shifts is very key because it allows you to shift the ceilings in your mind. But first of all, you have to understand those ceilings. You have to be able to, see that okay, this is a ceiling in my mind, and I can actually shift the ceiling to help me achieve at the highest level. And that is why this is very important. In the course of time, we'll be diving into very deep-seated mindsets that can prevent you from being the highest version of yourself. And I believe that every episode that you go through would help you become a better person as you begin to shift those ceilings and go higher and higher. So we'll quickly dive into what we have today. And today we're talking about practical ways to releasing your greatness, right? And I basically subtitle this, there's a seat at the table for you. And as you go deeper into this, you begin to understand why it has that particular subtitle. So, what are the key takeaways that you'll be getting from this particular episode? Number one is you'll be understanding what significance means, right? And I think this is something very key because, in a lot of ways, many people deny the fact that they want to be significant. They deny that they want to live a life of significance. And I think when you don't understand something, you tend to fight it. And so, what we're going to be doing today is really understand what significance means. When you understand what significance means, then you want to move towards it. And the second thing we're going to be looking at is how to step into the new year with a renewed sense of purpose. So this is 2026. I mean, yes, we have different ideas or plans for 2026, but you have to step into it with a renewed sense of purpose because what takes people through the year or through years is really a sense of purpose. That is what is going to give you a sense of urgency, is going to give you a sense of contribution and help you overcome the challenges. And so you want to step into the new year with a renewed sense of purpose. And finally, we're going to be learning about two global frameworks, right, that can allow you to actually contribute. Two global frameworks that would help you practically release your greatness and help you also contribute in a way that impacts others, right? In a way that shows measurable progress, in a way that you can actually measure and say, oh, I'm doing something that actually adds value to the lives of people. So let's dive into it. Now, here you see Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. You might be wondering, how does releasing your greatness, how does it have anything to do with Maslow's hierarchy of human needs? Now, Abraham Maslow is a psychologist, and he studied how humans function. So I wanted to study what really makes humans tick, what makes us do the things that we do, what makes a person, go through, the stress of actually maybe working, what makes a person, decide to build a family, even though yes, it's actually a stressful endeavor. What makes a person decide to build relationships, even when they know that they're going to encounter friction? What is the real thing behind how humans think and how they approach situations within their life? And so Abraham Maslow and a few other psychologists began to study this key theme, and Abraham Maslow is one of the major psychologists, right, that people refer to. And this you see here is Abraham's pyramid. It's this pyramid of human needs. Now, in this pyramid, you will see that below it is the psychological needs. That's with our need for food, basic things and the things that we need to live daily. And then above that particular foundation is safety and security. So health, employment, and the rest. Then you begin to go a bit above that to love and belonging. So what he's saying is that the primary thing that motivates every person is a need to, first of all, have food and drink and clothing, right? He's saying that what the things that motivate us primarily is food and our psychological needs. Then it goes above that say, oh, once we've found food, once we've gotten what we need to survive, kind of, we begin to go towards okay, safety and security. We now want to put gates around our houses. We now want to, hire security guards. We now want to, be conscious of what we are doing, or in the tech space, we want to put more cybersecurity measures to ensure that we are safe. And then after that, we now go to love and belonging. We now say, oh, I want to build a family. I want to build relationships. I want to build friendships. So then we move a bit after we've satisfied the needs of the three foundational ones. We go up to self-esteem. Now we start talking about confidence and achievements, right? We want others to respect us. We want to feel like, oh, we are unique. And then we go to the final part of the pyramid. That's the top, which is self-actualization. And that is, come to a place where we actually do something significant, where we begin to think about purpose, where we begin to think about meaning and inner potential. Now, Abraham's pyramid of human needs is very significant. It is something that speaks to the very, very essence of what we do or what motivates us as human beings. But I think there is something that is foundationally not right with this particular pyramid, and I'm going to be showing you why. And that why I'm saying this is because you see, when we zero in on our needs being, being the most important in this pyramid, when we look at this pyramid and we begin to classify our needs as, oh, the most important part of my life is food and drink, then we mix everything up because that, in a real sense, is not the most important things for human beings. And I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to show you why. Now, if you really pay attention to, life and the things that happen around, you get some people, they are very rich, they are very wealthy, they get to places of prominence and influence, but deep seated beyond all the wealth and all the fame that they've been able to garner, there is a deep seated feeling of not being fulfilled, either because what they are doing is not something they really want to do, or what they are doing is not really significant. Every human being has a drive for significance. Every human being wants to feel like, oh, what I'm doing is actually worth something to someone else. Want to feel like, oh, the actions I'm taking is actually being impactful or is actually contributing to somebody else. Every human being has that inherent feeling, and it was placed there by God. And I'm going to show you how this actually plays out when it comes to considering human needs and significance. So this, I call this Jesus's inverted triangle. Now, in the conversation that Jesus was having with his disciples, he decided to, go into some of the basic needs or the things that actually affects human needs. And in the conversation in the book of Matthew, Matthew chapter 6, where he talks about human needs, and there he says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life." And now this is what he calls worrying about your life, what you would eat or drink, or about your body, what you wear. Is not life more than food and the body more than clothes? Now, you see that Jesus classifies life as that's what we think life to be, as to eat, to drink, and the basic needs. He said we should never worry about it. So what he's saying is we should not pay attention to the point where it becomes our major pursuits and focus. Now, definitely we should have a concern for what to eat and what to drink. But what he's saying here is that it should not be your priority, it should not be your major focus. Food and drink should not be your priority. He's telling us that we should not allow the psychological needs be the priority behind our existence. So he's literally shifting Abraham's pyramid of needs, because in Abraham's pyramid of needs, food and drink is the priority for the average human being, right? Everything that we are doing is just to ensure that we get food and drink. But yeah, Jesus is telling us that that is not the way to live. That is not what life should consist of. And so he says, is not life more than food? So what he's saying that your life should be more than just your psychological needs. They are important, but that's your physiological needs, rather. Your life should be more than those needs, right? Your life should go beyond just wanting food and drink and the things that are, basic. Now, because there is more to our lives. There is more to our lives. Now he says, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. So I'll try to really picture this now. Yeah, if you've studied the human makeup, what humans are made of, the constituents of a human being really is a spirit, right? A human being is a spirit. A human being does not have a spirit. A human being is a spirit living in a body and possessing a soul. Now, I'm going to say it again. A human being is a spirit living in a body and possessing a soul. So the spirit is the essence of the human being. And then the body is what the human being uses to interact with the physical realm. That's the physical environment. So the body is something that you have. It is not you. You have your body. And that's why you say my body, right? You say, oh, my body is paining me. Your body is like the interface, it's like the human machine interface between you and the external world. So you're able to feel things from the external world. You are able to feel it. You are not your body. Your body is the machinery that allows you to feel those things, right? You're able to interact with people. You're able to take your thoughts and the ideas that come to you and flesh them out through your body. So your body is the externals, right? Your mind is what helps you, process your thoughts and understand, how life functions, your consciousness. But you are spirit. So when you understand this, you see that the essence of you, your person, is you, the spirit. And the spirit was designed for significance because the spirit was designed in the likeness of God, was designed to be great. And so when we, go by Abraham's triangle of needs, Abraham's pyramid of need, what we are saying is we are giving the body more priority than ourselves. We are giving the body more focus than ourselves. We are deciding that, oh, the external is more important than the internal. But what we begin to see is that even when we spend a lot of our time pursuing the things that are external, we get to a point where we feel empty on the inside. Like, oh, my life is not, you know, fulfilling something. I don't feel like I'm really doing something with my time. But we've literally spent most of our life, pursuing after the things that we think are basic needs. But in the real sense, the basic need of a human being is truly significance. It was placed there by God. God designed us to live lives of greatness, to release our greatness in the real sense, because every human being is born a great person. What we do is we release it and we allow people to see the deposits, the abilities, the talents, and gifts that God has placed inside of us. And so that's what Jesus was trying to say. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So now you will see how a person focuses on adding value either through a business or either through a non-profit or either even in the career space. The person focuses on, oh, how can I add value? How can I, my skills and gifts, right, contribute to what, to other people? And then these other things that are basics that are added. So when a person decides to pursue the basic things, as opposed to pursuing significance and self-actualization, it reverses the whole thing and then it gets messed up. And that's why you see people do very crazy things just to get basic things like food and drink and clothes. You see people, move beyond their moral thinking, move beyond their sense of character just so they can get the basic things. But when the inner drive is from the internal, when the inner drive is from, oh, I'm spirit and I need to live a life of significance, I need to live a life of fulfillment where I'm doing something with my time, then that is what motivates every other thing. And in that space of operation, we see that other things are added to us. And so that is really how we have been designed to live. We have been designed to live significantly. We are designed to live in a place of significance where everything we do is driven by that desire to actually add value to others, by that desire to actually live a life of significance and contribute to people. Because you can find a person who is doing, the most, who is really living a life of significance, and the person is very happy. Most times they don't have everything that will term basic needs, but they have this sense of joy and this sense of peace on the inside. And definitely, when you add value to people, value will return back to you. So it's a win-win on both ends because now you're adding value, and so value is coming back to you. When you meet people's needs, they would also, help you meet your own personal needs. And so this is Jesus's inverted triangle. It switches everything. So we start from self-actualization because inherently the human spirit is born for living a life of wealth, living a life of significance, and living a life to actually impact others. Now that we've understood significance, how can we begin to really, get into the space of, doing something significant this year? How can we begin to exercise that gift and exercise that ability that God has given us to actually live a life of significance? And so we're going to be diving into two concepts that, I call global frameworks for contribution. Now, the first one is the mountains of influence or the spheres of influence. Now, there are different theories to this, but primarily we can categorize a lot of what happens in the world in the systems that that govern our world into seven. There is the religion, there is education, there is family, there is government, there is arts, media, and business. Now, these seven mountains are the primary systems of operation. Now, how can we begin to contribute? We need to find areas where our gifts and abilities, contribute the most in any certain mountain. So, for example, I love speaking, I love writing, and the ideas that I tend to lean towards are in areas of leadership and in the areas of value creation, areas of business. So, which mountain can I play in? Or I'm being led to go into the government space. I want to lead people. I love politics. I want to understand how human beings interact to actually build nations. Or I'm led more in the family mountain. I want to actually help people understand relationships. I want to help families build better relationships because the children that we create, that we build now, are the ones that are going to be lead in the future. Or I want to be in the religion mountain. I want to bring the word of God. I want to bring the gospel of Jesus to this mountain. Or I want to go into the education mountain. Or I want to help people, think in a way that help them create value. I want to go into the business mountain. I want to actually build businesses that solve the problems of people. So when we look at our unique giftings and abilities and we look at the areas that we are leaning towards more, we can decide, oh, okay, I'm going to pick this mountain. You can pick one or two or three where you find that you operate more. I think for Gen Z, almost every Gen Z is in the media mountain because everybody's creating content, right? But then the unique thing that you bring into that mountain is what really makes you significant, your giftings and your abilities. And in the course of the episodes, we're going to be talking about gifts, abilities, and how you can even contribute more into those different spheres. So this framework here gives you a picture of how you can contribute. And finally, even before we go for it today, I'm going to be talking about the SDGs. Now, the SDGs were designed by the United Nations, to help nations, help countries actually prioritize developments, to know the areas that they are meant to prioritize, right? To know areas that, oh, this is where we need to focus on for this period of time. And well, the SDGs will be ending quite soon. It has been something that nations have been running with, and it has a end time, right? Time that has been set for countries to achieve this. But this gives you a platform for you to actually contribute. So you can research on them, study them, which area can actually zero in, which goal, which national goal, which global goal can I actually focus on, that I believe my work would actually contribute in this year 2026, and even in years to come, right? So I'm going to be dropping links to areas where you can actually research on this so that you can see how your unique gifts, your voice, or the skills that you have can, add the most value. Now, I'm going to be leaving you with this. See, living is a risk already. Um, every day you step out, you don't know what's going to happen. When you plan, you're making assumptions or you're foreseeing or forecasting. You can't determine if this was going to happen. So living is a risk. So choose the risk that make you release the greatness in you because that is the best risk to actually take. So till we meet again next time to the next episode. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Get the news out there. And you can also check out my book, What Schools Won't Tell You About Success. See details in the slide. I want you to go and take these lessons and really apply them and cheers to seeing you. Bye. Bye, guys.